And we've got a few more people joining us. Good. Right. Let's get going with the presentation. And we'll get started. So what I'll do is I'll skip through some of the kind of like who I am. I'll do that very quickly so I can get to the nitty gritty and everything like that. And any questions whatsoever. Oh, 1 second. Right. Oh, there's the stream. There we are. Right, there we go. Let's bring up the slides and we'll get started. And any questions, put them in the chat. Any questions you have, put them with Regina. I will still aim to finish at 1 o'clock because I've got to respect your time. And it's not your fault that Zoom wasn't quite functioning, is it? So we'll get started. So we'll skip the hellos and everything like that. I was going to tell the Kodak story. Do you all know the Kodak story? Raise your hands if you're aware kind of what happened with Kodak and everything like that. Alison, you look a bit lost. Linda, you do know the Kodak story? Good. Juan, Sarah, do you know the Kodak story? Vicky, hey Vicky, another Vicky. There's 2 Vickies, isn't that crazy? So basically the point of the Kodak story, I'll skip to the point, is as if you don't move with the times will move without you. And now, while things are really challenging and uncertain, this isn't the time to pull back or rest on your oars. These are the time to lean in, to innovate, to really get into it and move forwards with your business and be creative and find solutions that work, right? That was going to be the point of the story, but because we've lost a bit of time, I won't go into it. So now is the time to really stand out as a speaker. Despite the uncertainty, really now is the time to put your head out. Why? Because most people are pulling in, if you think about it. Most people are pulling in. Most people are starting to hide. They're worried. No one's buying. No one's this. So please, what I'm asking of you for the next, few months, stand out. Be more giraffe. Dare to stand out, put your neck out and everything like that. Because right now it's really important that we connect with our communities, we support our communities, because if we're feeling it, they're feeling it, right? So let's remember that this is the time to really step up our service, step up our leadership and step forwards to really be there. Now, the challenge is very few people have the impact they want when they speak. And I see that time and time again. That's a frustration I have from a lot of speakers, is that they do not have the impact. They stand on stage. It's not a matter of confidence. It's a matter of delivery. It's a matter of elevating, empowering, educating, and really inspiring an audience to take action in some capacity. Whatever the industry you're on, it's about them getting off their bums and doing something. And what I find is a lot of people are great information tellers. Hello, Linda's cousin, friend, daughter, neighbor. Hello. What I find is they're conveying a lot of great information, but they're lacking that connection to inspiration to do something. And I find that a lot with speakers when it comes down to it. Was going to ask what your challenges are. If you still want to put them in, great. But I just want to move forwards and add the content because we're slightly behind time as well. Hello, daughter. Nice to see you. And welcome. And I won't. If you do want to put your challenges out, if I do find I have time, I can circle back to them. So let's get going with the nitty gritty of the webinar that was. So here's the thing. We work with a variety of business owners. We work with a variety of industries. And here's some of the different businesses that we work with. Because for us, it's about creating influence, creating momentum, creating impact. And so we can take what we do to different industries because it's completely about the delivery. It's about the language and it's about the structures, right? So we can cross-pollinate different industries because of our methodologies. That's who we've worked with. Now, they all seem to have a common thread of problems. And again, you might relate to a few of them, to some of them, or to one of them. But a big one of them, of course, the problems that people are facing right now is the need to adapt and be current, right? And I talked about this a little bit on Clubhouse today. The challenge is a lot of the messaging that was working even a month ago isn't landing right now. Your messaging is incredibly important. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So if you're not current, if you're not up to date with what's going on in your audience, in your potential client's mind, then they're just going to look past you. So that's what's really important. I'm finding a lot of people that are speaking right now, their messaging isn't landing. And a very simple way to do this, and I'll give this away already as a tip, write this question down. What keeps you up at night, right? The question to ask your audience, your potential clients. Now, today's webinar is all about how to market and to get speaking opportunities for mainly selling from stage, right? It's mainly about that, but a lot of this will work in terms of getting booked if you're a paid speaker as well, right? But if you don't know what's keeping your customer up at night, your potential client, your potential audience, then you're going to be left behind because they're going to look for the content that does speak to that. The other problems we always find is getting booked, getting paid, getting sales, struggling with online noise. Again, it's going to get noisy, low speaking impact, low or no conversions, not enough time to practice, right? Unclear brand message, fluffy pitch. You get to the sales part, you're a bit like, I don't like selling, I just want to speak, I just don't like selling, that's not me. And then the other one, of course, is I want to support everybody, and that you don't pitch at all. The challenge with that is, as much as we're all of service, if you're not selling, someone else is, right? If you're not occupying that space in someone else, in their brain, in your audience's brain, that tiny little bit that says, I need to go to Vicky because I want a network of millionaires and stuff like that, right? Oh, I'm thinking psychopaths, Linda, right? If you're not occupying that part in your audience's brain, which is where selling comes in, then someone else is. And I really bet that right now, they do not care as much as you, right? Now, that's an estimation, but here's the thing. You're here showing up because you want to learn to better yourself, to market yourself, to speak up during these times. That says everything to me, right? So keep that in mind. And of course, the other thing I get is not enough quality leads. Right, very quickly about me. I've been doing this for over a decade now. I've been in this space, running coaching businesses, running strategy businesses, and running Speaker Express for over a decade now. I am head giraffe in the UK, which basically means I help business owners and entrepreneurs to stand out, stick their neck out, be influential for the right reasons, speak to magazines, over 10,000 hours, written 5 books. The 6th one is coming out in November, 2 of them bestsellers. I'm a mentor to the Princess Trust, and I do run a podcast that comes out every Monday. We actually stream it every Monday on LinkedIn. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you can watch it every Monday. And we release a new episode every Saturday called the Public Speaking Expert Podcast, right? I've also won awards. I've been one of the coaches to follow for 2022. This year I was shortlisted for the Business Book Awards. Well, hey, and we've just launched the Speaker Awards. If you didn't know that, we've launched that. That's already closed. So if you want to join that, you've got time next year. Like I said, we speak to a variety of industries, from tech entrepreneurs to influencers to campaigners to people who are pitching to get on TV to property investors. We work with a variety, authors, you name it, because it's about our methodology, not about the industry. Someone that came to us recently was Ed, highly accomplished salesperson, very established entrepreneur, and was struggling because he wasn't getting the impact on stage. So we really worked with him on his structure, his language, and his delivery. And then when he was campaigning to raise funding, when he was campaigning with his new product, we were able to get him to really maximize the opportunity on stage to influence people to buy into his methodology and his new software through what we taught him. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that a bit later. Right, here's the thing I want you to think. So key number 1 to really succeeding, to really standing out, and I want everybody to take this on board. This is a little bit of a mindset check. I just want us to check our mindset right now because it is uncertain and it is challenging. I want you to think, if you knew you couldn't get rejected or fail, what actions would you really take? And I do this with my mastermindees. I do this with my mentees because a lot of us know the theory. Oh, I should do this. I should do that. I should do this. I should do that, right? What we really, really, really want to think is if you knew you couldn't get rejected, Juan, right? Or Sarah, or Mr. K, if you knew you couldn't get rejected, what actions would you take different to the ones you're doing? And I often get these answers. I would knock on more doors. I would approach more people. I would be braver, asking for the bigger opportunities, right? Nod your head even if I can't see you and say, yeah, that's about right. Right. So if you knew if you couldn't get rejected or fail, you knew those are the actions you should be taking, why aren't you taking them? Right? Because those are your real goals. Those are really what's going to get you to stand out, to be more giraffe, to really get the speaking opportunities. That's what's going to allow you to market yourself as a speaker where others fail. While others are withdrawing and sticking their neck in the sand, you're sticking your neck out by reaching out to more people, by daring to get rejected, by daring to get the no. And I'll say this now already, and I say this to everybody. Write this down. Learn to love the no. Learn to love the no, right? Because here's the thing. If you learn to love the no, also respect the no, right? But it's a negotiation point. But what do most people do? Most people hear a no and they shut down. But normally a no is followed by, no, it's not the right time. No, we don't have the budget. No, we're looking for this speaker. But most people just see the no and stop. Read beyond the no and go, oh, it's a no. Great. This is a negotiation point. Where can I go from this no? No, is it? And if you just get a no, you're like, okay, is it no because you don't have the budget? No, because I don't fit in. What is the no here? And then that will allow you to do it. Now, if you learn to love the no, rejection and failure become slightly smaller. Would you agree with that? Because that way, if you did that, then you're actually able to maintain momentum a lot more. So if you learn to love the no, guess what? Ta-da! You're able to meet momentum. So I really want you to think about the what if mindset, right? If you knew you couldn't fail or get rejected, what actions would you take and do differently? Really think about that. Because when we flip to the what if, right? Hello, Dr. Claudine. Lovely to see you. All the way from New York. Hello. Lovely to see you. Right? If we knew we couldn't get rejected or fail, we would take different actions, right? And if we switch to the what if mindset, what if, it doesn't mean you become deluded, but we switch to the what if mindset, then we will take different actions. We will maintain momentum. And especially in uncertain times where everybody's on defensive, learning to love the no and thinking in the what if, right, will completely distinguish us from everything else, from anybody else. That will make us more giraffe. So learn to love the no. Being versatile is key. Stop being a one-dimensional speaker, right? Stop having one-dimensional messaging. Have a variety of ways you approach your potential bookers, your potential events. Don't go with one thing. Don't go with one avenue. Really think of the different ways you can do that through versatility, learning to love the no. What if you couldn't fail, right? So that's the mindset check-in I wanted to do when we get going. Someone this really worked for was a guy called Juan. He came to us from the military. He was very stern. He used to command 4,000 troops. You can even see by that picture. He's like, hey, I'm a tough guy. Hey, you want to mess with me? Don't mess with me, man. He's like, hey, what's the matter with you? He's like, he didn't speak like that at all. I don't know why I even went there. Anyway, you get my point. He was very hard, very tough. He's one of the guys that you kind of know if he really wanted to, he could probably snap you like that. He drove tanks. He could drive helicopters. So he came to us and he was this stern, militant speaker. When we showed him versatility, we taught him, and he had the what if mindset, but he didn't have it about speaking, interestingly enough. He didn't have it about knocking on doors. He could command 4,000 troops to go out and battle, but he couldn't knock on doors to get speaking opportunities. We shifted that. What if? What if they wanted to hear what you had to say? What if you could be a bit softer? What if you could stop sounding like a soldier when you present? We started to integrate that, changed everything for him. How he approached things, the speaking opportunities got, the job he got was a result of that. So this stuff really works, even for who you would perceive to be massively confident and established. Right, I know I'm going slightly faster than I normally do, but that's because we've got less time due to the technical issues. Again, I'm really sorry about that. Here's the other thing I want to talk about, right, is consistency or visibility. Now, I've already alluded to this. Being consistently visible is a must in uncertain times. If you want to market yourself as a speaker and you want those speaking opportunities, you've got to stay in people's mind's eye. That is everything. You've absolutely got to remain and have a presence so they see you consistently. Not once or twice, not here and there, because while everybody is pulling away, you need to pull forwards, right? You need to really pull forward and you need to remain in the mind's eye. And what do I mean by that, right? I mean that could you step up your content creation, right? What more can you do to maintain your presence? Could you post more, right? Could you have a variety of posts? What can you add? This is key here to maintain in the mind's eye. For example, anyone that follows us on LinkedIn will see that we post every single day without fail, right? On the topic that we talk about every single day, because we want to stay in people's peripheries. And yes, for those of you on our database, if you're lucky enough, you get an email every day, right? Up to you if you want that or not. That's really up to you. But for us, our job is to make sure we stay in people's periphery, in people's mind's eye, that we don't disappear and we're not inconsistent with how much we are showing up. Where you need to show up, the platform you need to show up, that's really over to you, right? We've really doubled down on LinkedIn, right? I do a little bit on TikTok, but really our main place is LinkedIn. I don't do Instagram. I don't do Facebook anymore. I completely won't talk about that. That's a whole nother thing, but basically not interested in posting on that platform anymore. Since we've doubled down on LinkedIn, I've doubled the amount of connections I've had. I've gone from, I think it was just under, it was 3.5, and in 3 months we've gone to 7,000. That's just from keeping presence. And we post, and we do a variety of posts. Can you share bits of your speaking? Can you share the excitement of speaking? Can you share content from your speaking? Can you turn those speaking bits into leadership pieces, right? Can you do more? If you post 3 times, can you go to 5, right? I'm not saying you have to do every day, all right? But can you up it? We need to stay in people's mind's eye, because otherwise someone else will occupy that space. And I've alluded to that. If you're not occupying that piece of space in their minds that you're the go-to person for that, then you might be left behind. And I want to make sure that doesn't happen. Can you up your presence? What can you do to up your presence and make sure you maintain that? So I just wanted to cover that. That's the second thing to think about. Lots of things to think about after today. Hopefully you will turn this into action and do something with this. Please don't be a nice webinar I've attended, okay? Something from this has to translate to action. Keep this in mind. Content is king, right? So can we up the content production? How do I create content? I leverage things. For example, when I do these things, I've got another camera to my right that's filming delivering this. This will become a video. Only snippets of it, right? When we do podcasts, I record myself doing the podcast, snippets. When I speak, I record myself speak, snippets. Right? So you don't have, it's not necessarily about doing more, but how can you leverage what you're already doing? Again, and then you post that, people get a feel for you, they get a taster for you. Things like that is how you can up the content without necessarily sitting there writing more. But what I also do is I bulk record. I'll take 2 hours and I'll bulk record the topics. And there's a great website if you're struggling for content. Is it Meet the Public? Regina, is that it? Can you just post in the chat? I think it's Meet the Public. You post every day on Facebook. Yes, go Dr. Claudine. Is your audience on Facebook? Are your buyers on Facebook? Are your bookers on Facebook? Something to think about, right? I think it's meetthepublic.com. And if you put your topic in there of expertise, it will show you what people are looking for online. Then you can take that, create that to content, right? If I take Linda, she could put psychopaths because that's her expertise. And then she can look at what everybody's searching online and then literally just take those titles and record videos. Am I a psychopath? Right? And your title is Am I a Psychopath? Guess what? That helps with your ranking on Google. It helps with your presence. And you know that people are looking for that. Right? So really, that's a great thing. I think it's meetthepublic.com, or Ask the Public. Anyway, Regina, can you post that link for me, please? That's one thing, right? The other thing, please remember that content leads to cash. Your content is what's going to get to people's mind. It's what's going to get you to stand out. Therefore, people will choose you over everybody else. Why? Because you're speaking to them. You're creating content for them. You're also creating what keeps them, you're aware of what's keeping them up at night. So you're creating content for that, and therefore they'll choose to buy from you. Content is king, content is cash. Or, if you're like, why is content a male? I'm happy for it to be a queen as well. I'm also happy for it to be non-binary. Content is non-binary, whatever you want it to be, right? And it's also cash, and it's also the way you stick in people's mind's eye. But you can leverage it, okay? That's the key. Some people that came to me recently, they're actually a design agency. And for them, they were so good at what they did, but they really struggled to communicate it when they stood on stage. They always spoke as if they were talking to someone who's in the same industry, never outside of their industry. So they never really got the result they wanted. So when John came to me with his partner, Chris, I had to really show them, A, how to use a structure, loosen the language, right? But also to shift the content from something that's quite exclusive to become something inclusive. And these guys are really good at what they do. So basically, if you go into the supermarket and a product catches your eye, there's a chances are they designed it. That's what you got 0.3 of a millisecond to catch an eye, right? That's what they do. But we had to make it more open. So the content they had to create must be more inclusive and inviting versus exclusive to a very, very small understanding of designers who might get what they're talking about. After they did that, they sent me this testimonial. They've done really well. I've worked with them a couple of times since. This is the key. The content you create has to be inclusive. It's got to speak to your audience, not how good you can talk about it, because you know you're good, but how good they understand what you do, how good they process your processes and your solution, because we're selfish people. We buy because we want our problem solved, not because of how good you are. And your ability to communicate that, again, is what's going to get you to stand out. The content you create that communicates that, not just to speaking, but also when it comes down to what you post is where the cash comes in and the content is queen or the content is king, right? So keep that in mind, please. This is all important if you want to get booked during this time. If you want the opportunity to stand on stage and promote your product and sell, this is really important. They also had nerves, which I helped them deal with as well, right? So that's something else. Very quickly, I'm just going to touch on this. If any of you do want to move forward with us or do something else, we have actually created a Speak to Influence program. We'll send you the link to read. It's a Google Doc. But what it is, it's basically us working with you. We create a signature talk, which you go out there to promote on stage, which helps you sell. But we've structured it very differently. The way we've structured is you pay a little bit up front and then the rest on results or over 2 quarters, because we're well aware of what's going on right now. So that's what we've structured. There'll be a Google Drive, which you can read, you can book, you can buy, or you can book a call in with me. But basically, we work on the structure, we rework a structure, right? You have support throughout through WhatsApp. When I do drop-in sessions, you pay a little bit up front, and then the rest, either when you've made the money, which you will make the money, promise you that, or we spread it over 3 quarters, right? So you've got almost 9 months to cover the cost of it, okay? So the link question, how do you create content to include everybody in your communication? If you think you have to focus on your target. Let me come back to that because I'm aware of time. So if we could, Regina, could you post the link, please, for it? There'll also be a QR code you can scan as well. So you'll also have scripts. There it is. There's the link. Please grab that because of time as well, which is unfortunate. We'll also give you scripts, videos. It's a massive package, right? Basically, signature talk, and then you have support throughout. We identify 10 places for you to speak. We help you get booked, and we go from there as well, right? I'll skip this because I want to get you into the tips, right? So you're all here because you have something ready to, you've got a product, you've got something that you want to promote and sell. Just to be clear, this structure is about getting people to buy for you from stage. It's not a keynote. It's not about getting booked and getting paid. That's different, right? So in essence, you get all of that stuff, the videos, the scripts, right? And all you do is you pay me £360 to start the program. And then you've got 3 months, right, to make the money. And then if after 3 months, there's got to be some accountability, you haven't made the money, we'll take another 360. And then you still got another 3 months before we take the last payment. So I think that's really fair. It's very entry point for in terms of monetary wise. So if you scan the barcode or you grab the list, then you can certainly either book a call with me to talk about it. So basically you're paying just over £1,000 over the 3 payments. So I think that's really, really, I think it's a great deal. And you'd be crazy not to take it. So scan the barcode, read all about it, book a call in, or book, and we're ready to go. You get WhatsApp support throughout. You get drop-in Zoom sessions throughout. My role is to support you as much as I can to get booked and make an ROI. And I'm putting skin in the game too, because I'm just asking for a little bit up front, and the rest I'm going to trust you're going to do and you're going to deliver. Right, so that's the program. Let's carry on with the tips. I can probably squeeze in 4 more tips, but the scan code, the code's going to be there from now on as the Google Drive. So feel free to reach out. If you can't find a time, by the way, on the calendar link in the Google Drive, just email us and we'll find you one. Okay, key number 4 is proactive outreach. Okay, a lot of people sit back and wait. They put expert speaker. By the way, that reminds me, change your LinkedIn from motivational, inspirational speaker to expert speaker in blah, right? expert speaker in properties or whatever it is, because then it's easier to book you. If you're just an inspirational speaker, for example, Addison, I don't know right now what you speak about. If it's just, that tells me nothing about what you speak about. And just remember that the speaking industry is looking to box you in, right? The speaking industry is looking to box you in and make sure you fit into that little box that says, I need an expert speaker on blah. I need an expert speaker on blah. But most people just put motivational speaker, inspirational speaker. Well, then you're competing with Les Brown, Renee Brown, like Tony Robbins, because people associate that to that. Change inspirational, motivational speaker or professional speaker to expert speaker in X. This is key. That's what's going to help you get booked as well. By the way, that wasn't just for Alison, that's for everybody. But I just thought I've picked on pretty much most people, so I'll pick on Alison this time. But here's the thing. You've got to be proactive with your outreach. Yes. So again, with the program Speak to Influence, we give you scripts to use. Don't sit and wait. Connect with people on LinkedIn. I love your events. Can we speak about me being a speaker for you? Right? Can we do that? But most people sit back and wait for people to come knocking. If you're not reaching out, then again, those who are will stand out. So you've got to do proactive outreach, people. And here's what I say so it doesn't sound overwhelming. All you need to spend is 30 minutes a day. That's it. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I want you to be able to enjoy the process. 5 contacts a day on LinkedIn. Hi, love your events. I'm a speaker, would love to come and add value to the community. 5 a day. Then, of course, there's the talk and interaction, but that's all you really need to do. But please don't be passive about it. Be proactive about it, especially during these times when other people are sitting on their bums and not moving forwards, right? Just remember what I said at key number 1. If you knew you couldn't get rejected or fail, what actions would you take? You would outreach more. You would knock on more doors. You would ask the question, hey, I see you're putting an event with 1,000 people. I'd love to be a speaker. How do we make this happen? And they might come back and go, you're not big enough. You're not, you're not the right speaker yet. Okay, what would be the right speaker? When do you think I would be ready? Well, there has to have certain criteria. You need X amount of followers. You need da-da-da-da. Find out the information, right? Next key, right? Remember, it's about relationships. People booking you is just about relationships as it is anything else. When I used to speak for IMN, it's because I had a good relationship with Nina and Richard, right? Most of my speaking opportunities still come from the relationship I built. Obviously, they're not going to book you every week, but they'll come back every 6 months or once a year. Can we book you for next year? We really like you. The audience, it's about relationships. How do we build relationships? By proactively outreaching. How do we build the relationships? By treating people as people and respecting them and their processes. We don't jump in bed with them. Hi, my name's Elliot. Book me. I'm 5,000 to 10,000 pounds. Do you want to book me? Book me. I'm so good. Book me. That's not going to do anything. Just not going to do anything, is it? Let's be honest. Building a relationship is key, right? Next one. Big one. Stop. Take stock. What is working and what isn't. This is really important. Remember, we talked about messaging at the beginning. At the beginning we talked about messaging. But also, you need to just make sure and get rid of what isn't working. If a certain messaging or a certain outreach isn't working, if your speaker toolkit isn't quite right, your videos, your one-pager, right? If they're not quite to standard, or it's old content, or your bio isn't what you are now, it's time to tweak it. It's time to shift it. It's time to move it. Yeah? So that's what's key here. So can you take stock and see what has been working, what isn't working? The answer is, of course you can. I mean, I know Linda's daughter's just starting out, so this will give you a chance to build it up. But for all the other people in the school that speak, that are out there, putting themselves out there, what isn't working, right? Is your bio appropriate? Are your images good enough? Is your video good enough quality? I'm telling you, having watched over 80 videos of people that submitted to the Speaker Awards, I can tell you, out of them, 10% stand out. And not because the content was bad, because the production was poor. Because people don't think how important it is. And here you've got 6 world-class judges looking at you, And some people's submissions has just been a bit, just not right. Yeah. Take stock. What's working, what isn't working. Okay. Excuse me. How am I doing? I think I'll finish on time, even though we started late. Let's see. Anyway, there's 2 more to go. Right. So images, video, bio, website, 1 page up. Is it time to refresh? Again, that's something that if you do the program, will help you work on that as well. Yeah. Here's the other thing I want you to think about. Now you might, there's some people I know, and rightly so. Yeah. They're like, I only get paid to speak. And that's okay. Here's what I will say to that. If you want us to come out on top during these times, let's think differently about stage time. Let's think differently how we commercialize stage time, right? Rightly so, you're an expert, you should get paid. However, when people are tightening their wallet, let's get creative on how we do that. So I would say, and you're entitled to disagree, say yes to any stage time. As long as the right audience. There's no point me going speaking in front of an audience of accountants about the latest legislation or what our beautiful Prime Minister's done. Not my expertise. I wouldn't say yes to that. Right? But say yes to, how to stand out, to speak out, to communicate, how to speak with authority, how to have more confidence. Regardless, I'll say yes, even if they're not paying me. Why? Write this down. Stage time is wealth time. Stage time is wealth time, right? And that means we just need to think differently about how we commercialize it, i.e., well, you can't pay me, can I sell? Well, hey, I've learned this amazing structure with Elliot, so that's good. I can. Or can I get a testimonial? Can you film it? Right? You got to get creative. Can we sit down and talk about me coming in doing consulting? I'll do it for free if when there is budget, you give me first refusal. Let's think outside of the box. Let's think creatively about how we commercialize these opportunities. The problem is, again, that some of us love the no for the wrong reason. Elliot, will you come speak for me? What's the budget? We're not paying. No. Okay, well, there we go. They'll find some of these. Versus thinking, well, there's 100 people in the room. There's 1,000 people in the room. Out of that, I could get, 20, 30 clients if I can sell. 40, 50 clients if I could sell and I make the offer right. Or I can get footage. I can get testimonial. I can agree with them the next time they pay me. Right? Don't do that. Say yes. Remember, Elliot said, stage time is wealth time. So start applying that. And get creative on how you make the money. All right, again, because that will get you to stand out and be more giraffe. How are we doing? Right. Again, some of you might know Janetta. How are we doing for time, by the way, people? Let me check quickly. Because I still want... Okay, we've still got 9 minutes. Wait. There we go. See? Smashed it out of the park. So, I work with Janetta. Now, Janetta has quite trigger warning story. Some of you might know her, Janetta Barry, and she talks about parents having effective communication problems due to losing her daughter when she was 16, right? So with Janetta, it was really about positioning her speaking in the right way. Also, in a way, when she did her signature talk, they enrolled other parents to understand the importance of her work. With her, I also worked as a mentor and strategically helped her funnel and build her business. But really fundamentally, it's about everything we talked about. And for Janetta, she used to be a motivational speaker in South Africa. She's got paid a lot of money. So, of course, she had that I need to get paid mentality. And so she should. However, I explained that in the space she wants to go into, not everybody's going to pay immediately, right? So we needed to get creative with the ways that she commercialized her business. And she did. She commercialized her business through getting one-to-one work, through her epiphany process. We created an entry point product that then she led people to, which allowed her then to upsell. So it's just getting creative with this as well. And another example of this, key 7, here we go. You're always selling. Can we stop pretending, right? We're always selling. At the moment we're on stage, we're selling. We're selling our thought leadership. We're selling our brand, right? We're selling our products. We're selling whatever, but you're always selling. So let's let go of the ickiness around selling and understand by standing on stage, you are selling. Now, to do so with respect, to do so with grace, without being a douchebag, that's another matter. But you're always selling, okay? Please remember that. So I would say type in your biggest learnings. So if you want, and I'm going to circle back to your question, Dr. Claudine, in a second. I just want to show you another example. So another example of someone that used a signature talk to speak to an audience and then sell was Shamini. Some of you might know Shamini. She's known as the niching queen. So with Shamini, what we did is we worked on a signature talk, which led then to an upsell. So she had, she's got, I think, the numbers of people showed up there. There you go. So 37 showed up out of 86 that were meant to be there. She used her signature talk. And as you can see, this is the journey. So she kept updating me as we went along. But she almost made £20,000 from one talk, right? It was the right audience, of course. But this is the power of having a right signature talk that's inclusive, that invites people to buy into you, to trust you, that shows your expertise. And again, getting creative with commercialization. Now, imagine if she just got £5,000 for the 45 minutes or so that she did. Great, she's £5,000 up, but she's £11,000 down. So I just want for you to understand that think expansively when it comes to commercializing and using a signature talk and who you reach out to in the audience. But let's start saying yes to stage time because it's wealth time. We can get creative in that. And again, I can guide you through that. I can help you with those bookings, what you say, the emails. That's why the WhatsApp, and that's why all that is there to support you throughout. Not just like, a one-off thing. It's there until you've made the money, more than the money back. So the link is still there. Is the link, I think, Answer the Public. There we go. Thanks, Victoria. Answer the Public. There you are. Check it out if you want to content create. And of course, you got the link with the Google Doc. We'll also email it with the email. So we had a question here. How do you create content to include everybody in your communication? Think you have to focus on your target. You do have to focus on your target, Dr. Claudine, right? But what I'm talking about is not creating content that feels like I have to be in a circle to understand it. I'm talking about content that will allow me to build the know, like, and trust factor, to position your expertise, and to know that you're the go-to person. So it's got to be accessible. That's what I mean. I'm not looking to appeal for everybody, right? Myself, I don't want to do weddings and all the events. I don't want to be that kind of speaker. So my content doesn't speak about that, right? That's what I mean by your question. So I hope that helps as well. So I believe, let me see. I think that's pretty much would have been one of the last slides. Yeah. So now it's just a reminder of the Speak to Influence program. And if you're interested, and because I've done it at record speed, we've still got 5 minutes. I hope it didn't just go da 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 da. I will send the replay out as well, so you can have a watch of it if you wanted to recap anything. We do have 5 minutes. So do you have any questions or any thoughts about potentially working together or anything like that, or about anything that I covered for that matter? You can unmute yourself. It's probably quicker if you can, or if you want, if you are a typer and a very fast one, feel free to type. I'm quite impressed that we managed to, 15 minutes or 20 minutes late by the time I started, and we still managed to do it. Yeah. There you go. That's a pro at work right there. Psh, mic drop. Yeah. So, questions about maybe working together or about anything that I covered. Have you guys got value from today? You think you all look, for the people I can see, you all look very deep in thought now. So I can see Alison, you look deep in thought, even though you're smiling. Vicky looks very deep in thought. So does Linda and her daughter, Dr. Claudine. Any tips on seed planting throughout your talk? So, yes. So when you're seeding, you're talking about seeding like NLP seeding? Is that what you mean?
No, so if you're leading, sorry, I thought I'd unmute, that'd be quicker. So if you're leading up to your pitch at the end, so kind of seed planting why your services or your product you're offering are good from the get-go.
So just remember, you're always selling from the beginning, and the seeding needs to start and exist throughout. So it's like, hi, I'm Victoria and I run IMN London. What we are is a community of investors. It's a millionaire network. But I'm going to tell you more about that in a bit, right? So that's your seed. And then and you talk about content, and then your seed, and and when we work together, seed, right? So think of the language you use. And when I invite you to apply, seed. So you're always dropping those in there. Also, another way to seed, by the way, is the stories you tell in terms of success stories. They're great seeds because people sit there going, I want some of that. That's me. So that the ones I've chosen are chosen to help encourage a buying decision. So you can seed in a really empowering way, or you can seed in a completely manipulative way. I don't think you would do a manipulative way, but there's some speakers out there, no names mentioned, that just seed and seed and seed very manipulatively. So by the time they come to the close, somehow you've jumped out and you're at their table. That, I mean, you could call them very, very good, but that can be very manipulative. Does that help? Does that answer your question? Again, I'm happy to talk you through that if you wanted some help with the language of how you seed and things like that. Any other questions? Great question.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I have
Victoria.
a question. Thank you for presentation. Good job. So you're welcome. So what type of story you choose or you selected to share when you have many stories and then you don't have enough time on the stage?
Yeah, and knowing a little bit about your background, I'm sure you have many stories. I'll answer that very quickly. There's 5 key stories we should be able to tell. The story of our pitch, our personal story, and again, you choose the most appropriate part of the story, your business story, case stories or success stories, and your vision story, right? What's important is out of those 5 stories is you choose the most appropriate one that your audience is going to relate to. So it's not, poor me story. It's about empowering the audience so they can relate to you, they can connect with you, and therefore buy from you. So if you think about your personal story, it's got to magnify the problem you're addressing, how you have great expertise, and why you're the person to address it. Stories as a whole minefield. Yeah. Does that help? Yeah. Cool. Good story. So look, I still finished on time. Again, I don't know what happened with Zoom. We've never, ever had that before. Maybe next time I'll just use a Zoom link versus a webinar link. There we go. Makes life easier. I can see your beautiful faces. And I know this link works, right? So let's just maybe stick to that, what we know. So for those of you who do want to book a call in or grab a slot, I know I'm speaking to you very soon, Dr. Claudine, right? So we're going to have our chat. Scan it, grab it. Again, I'll email the replay of this as well in case you missed something, you want to go back on something, and we'll email the link as well. So I've opened 3 slots for next week where you can book calls in Monday to Wednesday. So hopefully I'll speak to you and see you soon. And I look forward to working with you. Do what works. Okay, thank you. And thank you for coming today. And again, apologies for the technical issues. And hopefully I'll be working with some of you very soon. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Sarah. Take care. Hey, best of inspiration. I'll hang back a little bit if any of you want to ask me a question or anything like that. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you, Alison. Hey, Clubhouse as well. Yes, thanks for coming. Cool. And we'll email everything out to you shortly. But I'll hang back if anyone has a question. Let me just stop the recording. Come on.
Elliot, we're looking, as well as doing the monthly online events, because my battery's about to die, I'm going to whiz and see if I can plug it in before you die. We're looking at potentially doing some workshops for members and guests as well.
Yes.
It's not something